Welcome to the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. I'm your host, Lily Allen Duenas. Together we'll talk about the world of yoga and we'll talk to people from around the world. Join us for authentic conversations about the global yoga ecosystem and yoga psychologies, philosophies, and methodologies from around the world. Inhale, exhale. We're about to dive in. I'm so excited to be here, episode 1 with Farah. She is from Cairo, from Egypt, and we met at Nepal Yoga Home in Kathmandu back in July of 2017. We were yoga teachers together in training. It was amazing, and we immediately bonded from the first day. I knew I wanted her to be my best yoga friend, and we have stayed in really good touch ever since. I visited Farah in Egypt, and we had an amazing trip together, and we're trying to organize an opportunity to get together again soon. So she's with me here today, and we are going to dive into yoga and yoga in Egypt and Farah's journey. So Farah, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. So excited to do this.
I am so excited to do this as well. Thank you. Episode 1, yes, we are trying out all these new technologies together and we're learning. So of course, Farah, let's dive in just to your story.
All right. So I started yoga back in 2016. Yeah, by the end of 2016. Back then I used to do CrossFit and I had a very bad back injury, lower back injury, 2 herniated discs. And I was in so much pain and I didn't get why did I get injured. And I started doing physiotherapy and I started doing things and searching how to recover from this. And by the end of my physio sessions, I was advised to do yoga. And I started going to yoga classes and I loved how it felt. I mean, not just physically, I love how it felt spiritually. And because I was so depressed about my injury, I was so stressed and I was feeling so down. So I loved how it made me feel, and it was so interesting to see how my body's. I was very connected to my body. So even though I used to do a lot of sports, I did move a lot, but I wasn't really connected to my body. And it's interesting how I thought many different things about my body. I always thought I was flexible, and because I've learned so much body awareness through yoga, right? So I started learning how, if I practice and I move with awareness, I got to understand what I'm feeling in different areas, and I discovered that I have very tight hip flexors. I mean, the areas, especially around the gluteus maximus, is very tight. So anything that involves external hip rotation was very tight and restrictive. So that was actually the problem, and that's what caused my back injury. So I started researching a lot, and I started going to more classes because it felt good. I started healing my back through yoga, and that's when I decided to take it further and deepen my practice. So I went to Nepal Yoga Home to study, and I met you.
That is amazing. And I know you did gymnastics for so long. So I was really surprised, Farah, to hear you say you didn't think you were that flexible before, because you did a lot of gymnastics.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought I knew I was flexible, but actually our bodies are different, and each and every part in our body is different. So you can say that I'm flexible all over. So because I didn't move with enough awareness, I didn't understand and feel connected to my body. I had many imbalances that I wasn't even aware of. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand why, if I move this way, why I'm feeling this way. So yeah, this is when I discovered that I have many imbalances that have been causing me many injuries from a very long time. But I wasn't connected enough to my body to understand this.
Yeah, and yoga became the bridge. Yoga was the bridge that just helped you learn more and more about every individual part of your body and the muscle layers. I think that's something we forget about too, is it's not just one layer of muscles that we're working on. There's deeper and deeper levels that we can be connecting to as well for different benefits. Okay, so I would love to talk about yoga in Egypt. What is yoga like in Egypt, culturally, societally, or just in general? Is it very popular? I would love to dive into that with you.
I don't know if there's a correct answer for this, but I'll tell you that Egypt, the community in Egypt is very diverse. It's regarded differently because it's diverse socially and religiously and everyone and everything. Generally, it's very popular now. Um, it's you have lots of yoga studios. At first, you would find yoga classes just in gyms, and now you have many yoga studios and classes and many retreats going on. So it's very popular. People are loving it. People are very curious to go and try. So it's very popular nowadays. How it's regarded? Many people think that it's about flexibility, just not yet. They don't know when they go and try. They've not discovered the spiritual part. Some people are scared to try because of the spiritual part. Maybe some people think that it's related to Hinduism, so they're kind of like, no, it's not related to my religion. And I've actually got a question about this once in a yoga class, but I mean, I got this question once in the last 4 years that I've been teaching about how is it related to Hinduism and other religions, and how if it's okay to practice it if she's a Muslim and it's not related to her practice. And my answer was, it's your own practice, it's your own experience. You can take it with how you can practice it in a way that resonates with you, in a way that feels connected with you, and it will help you to be more connected in your prayers and how you practice your own religion, because it helps you align with your purpose more. So yeah, that's a point of view. And another point of view, because we have Sufism in Islam, so many people are now practicing Sufism, and it's so related to yoga in a way that Sufism encourages you to meditate, to be connected, to be aware and present. So it's kind of related. One of my favorite teachers, Ali Al-Alfi, is teaching Sufi Yoga. He does Sufi mantras, that zikr, that's so related to, and people resonate with it because this is how they practice their religion, and the yoga is the bridge between both. So
I've never heard. So with the Sufi yoga that's going on, is that Sufi asana practice as well, or is it only the meditation or pranayama elements?
both meditation, mantras, and asana practice. This is how he does it. I mean, I don't teach it personally, but I've been to his classes and it's amazing. He does everything, and it's beautiful.
So it just feels like a very like a uplifting spiritual experience going to one of those classes.
People who love it are resonating with it because it's so personal and intimate, and it's related to their language, religion, and yeah, it's a very personal experience, and yoga is connecting both together. So yeah.
Wow. I mean, I'm also trying to envision it like a Sufi yoga class. Is there anything different in the class that we would be teaching, just a hatha or vinyasa style class? Is it different in terms of the lighting, the candles, the music, the energy? Like, can you just walk me through a little bit what that'd be like?
So the setting was normal. I'm not an expert. I just attended as a student. So the setting was normal. There was no music. It was just Sufi mantras, which is dhikr, some sentences praising God and thanking God. And I mean, it's very related to how we practice Islam and what we say in our prayers. And we keep saying the mantras together, and the energy, but the vibrations are so amazing.
And do you do the regular Sanskrit mantras in your classes that you teach usually?
Mostly, no. I think people like to understand what they're saying. Uh, if they don't really understanding, they won't feel connected to it. So, and with the poses too, with the asana names too, they feel that if I explain or demonstrate in English and I say the Sanskrit words and then I demonstrate and I translate in Arabic, so it's too much to absorb in one class.
That would be three languages you're bouncing around. That would be a challenge.
So I feel that it's easier to to explain in English and Arabic, and Sanskrit is too overwhelming. So I personally don't use Sanskrit
Okay.
teaching in Egypt. Yeah.
And when you are teaching in Egypt, is there any differences in your teaching style that you feel would be different than what we learned together in Kathmandu? Have you adapted it in any way?
Actually, yeah, I have adapted and developed so much, but I mean, I think it's more related to the crowd rather than the place, because the crowd is always different. You have some beginners, you have regular practitioners, so you have to be teaching the people, not teaching with the way that you love to teach. So it always depends on the crowd and how what do they really need? Do they need to be adjusted all the time? Do they need to have their own space? Do they want to have someone explain everything to them, or they just want to have their own experience in silence? So it's always different, and it's about the crowd.
So, speaking of the crowd or your students, I did want to maybe bring up, I think you have a very special student that you're working with right now that you mentioned on our last call together that I'd love for you just to tell everybody a little bit about. It just blew my mind. It's such a unique experience and such an honor to work with the student you're working with. So, I think I've given a good lead up. So, go ahead.
Okay, so I've been working with Islam. Islam is a swimming champion. Let's cheer for him because he wants to qualify to Tokyo 2021. So yeah, hopefully we're cheering for him to go to the Olympics this year. We've been working together. He's been advised by his mentor or his head coach to do yoga classes as part of his training program, and his main goal was to work on his mobility. He wanted to learn to practice more breathing. He wanted to work on his imbalances because Islam has been on a wheelchair for a couple of years.
Is that an injury? Is it permanent?
Yes, it's permanent, and he's actually he wants to participate in the Paralympics. Sorry, I haven't made this clear. So yeah, he's such a fighter. He's amazing. He's always open to do new things. He's always very dedicated. He always shows up to class with a big smile, and he's very dedicated and giving 100% all the time.
I think what was the most amazing too is I've never worked with someone who was in a wheelchair who's paralyzed from, you said the chest down, right? Like right at the top of the ribs, or
from the bottom of the ribs and all the way down. So yeah, it's been a very interesting experience because there's lots of modifications. There's lots of I have to adapt many of the practices and poses and movements to suit him. Yeah, and it's been very eye opening to understand the body even more, because sometimes you feel that, yeah, I'm not using this word, but I when I really understand, no, I have to use my core in this.
yeah, it has like a hyper awareness. The twisting or these different poses, I agree, where I wouldn't think I'm utilizing or I'm pulling from that area. I mean, an incredible opportunity to understand body mechanics and anatomy even better, and to greater assist him in his physical goals and his desire probably to increase certain muscle flexibility levels or elasticity levels or strength levels. So I feel like, Farah, you must be just getting so fine tuned, just going down to like just all the way down to the, I guess, the base level or the most molecular, can I say that? The most molecular level of asanas. It's incredible to me.
Exactly.
So I did want you to fill in a little blank for me. So yoga is?
Alignment.
Yoga is alignment. Okay, tell me more.
Yeah. So yoga means union in Sanskrit, right? So it's the union of the body and mind and the soul. But I mean, through this, we get more aligned. We get more aligned with our bodies, aligned with the moment, aligned with our breath. So alignment allows us to be more in harmony with our thoughts, our actions, our words, which makes us more in tune with our purpose, intention, and values. So when we're always trying to find this harmony, things get aligned and things get in proper place.
Wow, that was a beautiful definition. I love that. So now that we've defined yoga, tell me what is something you think people get wrong about yoga?
Yeah, so this is the most common thing I get. I really want to try doing yoga. I want to go to yoga classes, but I'm not flexible, so I don't think I can do yoga. So it's definitely not about being flexible. It's your own practice. It's your own experience. It's not just a physical practice. You're doing it for more deeper reasons. So there's no competitions, there's no judgments. So yeah, I still get this a lot, and I always say being flexible, not doing yoga because because you're not doing flexible is like saying that you can't take a shower because you're not clean.
That's a very good way to put that. I like that. That's awesome. Okay, so would you say, Farah, is the most powerful thing that yoga has taught you?
I would say understanding myself more and more every day. And with understanding myself, I'm more in tune with my emotions. I'm understanding myself, my emotions even better. I'm accepting many things about myself because, yeah, as I said, I didn't even understand my body. I've been an athlete and I didn't get how I'm feeling physically. I'm not connected to my body, so it made me understand my body, my heart even more, and my true self, my inner self. So yeah, with this understanding, by being more aligned with myself, I've got to accept many parts of myself even more, and it's an ongoing practice, and yeah, it's constant work.
I agree. I think that's so true that yoga provides the space to go inside. Like it's a time where you're not so focused on the external world or what's going on, on your phone or in your office or in your family. It really is time just for you to kind of get to know yourself better and what's going on. And I loved how you said that it helps you understand your emotions better and brings you more awareness because I think when we have that space, even if it's 20 minutes of yoga or an hour of yoga, when you have that space that's just for you, you do kind of get in a little bit deeper to who you are on the internal level. And it is incredible also the information it does give us about our bodies because I agree, I was a soccer player for a decade and I felt like I was doing a sport every day of the week for years, but I could tell you, oh, my knee hurts, or oh, I am sore in my quads. I could absolutely tell you that basic information. I felt like I could have that down, but the subtler layers of the body, as you said, like the external hip flexors, or I can now tell when something in like my adductors feels a little out of balance. It almost feels like we're able to just go more and more granular to smaller and smaller levels. And as we mentioned earlier, when you're working with the swimmer, this you are going so granular. I'm almost envious that you have this opportunity, and because it's incredible to me. Because you do reach a level, I feel like in yoga, maybe you agree, maybe you don't, where you kind of forget what it feels like, maybe just to touch your toes and not be able to. You forget what part of your body is tensing when or what is resisting that, right? If you can just do it so easily. So this, I feel like, is an opportunity to go back to the beginning and investigate. Like, how are you learning about that? Or is it just a huge line of communication? It's private yoga classes with him, I assume, right?
Yes, and 100%, yes, this is actually very true, and I've noticed this because he's communicating really well, and he's always asking me and expressing, I'm feeling this here and I'm feeling this there, and yeah, when I try it myself, I really get that our bodies are really different. I mean, he's yeah. maybe someone is stronger in one part that I'm weaker in other part, and so on. So the same pose with the same exact alignment, everyone is experience it differently. So when you get to work one on one with someone and communicate well, you get to understand that our bodies are really diverse and different. And maybe you would think that one pose with the same alignment would make us feel in a certain way, and you would understand that it's so different because we have different bodies with different histories and different practices and movements. So yeah, this is definitely one thing that I've learned from Islam, because he's always communicating, and we're always talking, and we're always trying to adapt and find out and research together about things. And for example, we had to getting back to this experience. Um, we've discovered that what works for him more is bilateral movements instead of unilateral movements. So we've been very creative with our practice because we want to adapt it more to something that's fitting him better. We had to adapt many of the practices to be bilateral so he can support his body with one hand and do the practice with the other hand, but keeping the alignment, the same alignment, because we don't want him to borrow flexibility from the other side. So yeah, there's lots of thinking, and as you said, like micro awareness and micro study about the body. So yeah, it's been very interesting.
And you just did an extra yoga anatomy course, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm actually still studying. Yeah, it's on Yoga Anatomy, by David Kyle, and it's so interesting. I love it. I mean, every time I study, I get to know. I feel like wow, all of this is going in my body at the same time, and I'm not even aware of it. So it's amazing. Our bodies are really amazing, and it's so good to learn about.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so cool. I'm glad you're doing that course. And I definitely need to take another anatomy course too, because as we've been saying, you can go deeper and deeper, micro levels, and there's always more to learn. I think that's another thing that yoga's taught me is there's always more to learn. I think I'm going to be, just as we're both yoga teachers, I feel like I'm going to be a yoga student for the rest of my life too.
Exactly, 100%. And I love that we share this together always. We're always studying and sharing our experiences with each other. So it's good to have a teammate like you.
No, I totally agree. I think that's crucial. It's so vital that you have someone, another yoga teacher or a great friend who's into yoga who you can just kind of go back and forth with, and you can say, "Oh, I'm learning this," or when I was having some problem with my back, I was concerned that maybe I slipped a disc, and you had herniated your back before. I mean, we absolutely were able to help each other, and you gave me so many tips and tricks on the bilateral. That was really key for me as well, doing more bilateral forward folds. I'm very grateful for you. Very grateful.
I'm so lucky. I mean, I'm so lucky that I met you in the beginning of my journey. So yeah, we've been sharing a lot ever since. And remember when you used to adjust and assist each other in class, and we had one side better than the other, and I had the opposite one, and we used to like assist one another in one part, and the other side was my bad side, and you would come to the mat and assist me.
Absolutely. I wasn't that Asana. I think that was like one of those, binds. Yes. Oh, that's a great memory. Yes, we did have to help each other grab the bind with the hand on. Oh, that's amazing. Good memory. Oh, and I'll never forget when I very excitedly was trying to learn a little bit of Egyptian Arabic with you at Nepal Yoga Home. And you taught me a few phrases, and I mixed one up a little bit, but you'd gotten into a very impressive yoga pose. And I exclaimed, Naiman! And you started laughing so hard, you fell right out of the yoga pose. But I had told Farah, nice haircut. And I meant to be saying, great job. But she has beautiful hair. You have to check out Farah's hair. She does. So great haircut, could work any day of the week.
You.
Oh, thank you so much, Farah, for joining me on the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast and being the very first guest here. It's been such a joy to get to be with you.
Thank you, Lily. I enjoyed this so much, as I always enjoy our talks. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to my conversation with Farah Mostafa from Cairo, Egypt. She's a true delight and a beautiful spirit, and I'm so grateful to call her a wonderful, true friend. I hope you enjoyed learning more about yoga in Egypt, Sufi yoga, and other really interesting things about the yoga scene in Egypt. If you want to check out a little bit more, tune into the show notes, head over to my website, wildyogatribe.com/podcast, and you will get to see some links to what she talked about. You'll get some resources and more information on Farah. So check that out over there, and thank you for the gift of your attention, intention, and presence. So if you have any questions, I would love if you'd reach out to me. Best way to do that is on social media at Wild Yoga Tribe. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. I do have awesome YouTube videos up that are recordings of classes, so you're welcome to join me there. I'm on Insight Timer as well as a meditation teacher, so you can listen and tune into some yoga nidras and meditations for free. And I do have a website, wildyogatribe.com, that is packed full of just great resources. It's a place to come together as a community. So I hope you do check it out. And of course, if you would hit subscribe here, wherever you're listening to this podcast, it would mean the world to me. And it would also mean that you never miss an episode. They come out every week. So I would hate for something to, slip through the cracks. So hit subscribe. And if you feel called, leave me a little review. I'd love to hear your feedback. And it would just mean a lot. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, checking it out. Excited to see how this journey unfolds with you all.